Dave Filoni fixed Darth Vader in just 2 episodes, not by making him stronger or giving him bigger fights, but by taking something away. Fans did not call it cool or epic, they called it terrifying, which is a strange word for a Vader appearance. Star Wars has spent 20 years making him more powerful, more impressive, more dominant with each new story. And every time, audiences responded with excitement rather than fear. The Rogue One hallway became a highlight reel, while the Obi-Wan Kenobi confrontation became a discussion about legacy. Audiences loved those moments, but they never dreaded them. So when the final 2 episodes of Maul, Shadow Lord made people feel something genuinely different, something that lingered after the credits, no obvious explanation could account for it. The animation was exceptional, the choreography was different, and the horror framing was effective, but none of those things were new. Whatever Shadow Lord did differently, it was hiding not in Vader himself, but in what he did to Maul, though not for the reason most fans assumed. The immediate reaction to the finale was about power. Fans pointed out that the Sith Lord fought 3 opponents with one hand and dominated every exchange. All of that is true, but powerful Vader is not new. Shadow Lord produced reactions that no previous Vader story had. Something else was happening in the Shadow Lord finale, and Maul is the key to understanding what. Throughout the entire season, Maul is the most dangerous person on screen. He dismantles crime lords, outwits the Empire, and tears through an AT-ST walker on his own. When the Inquisitors corner him, Maul fights them to a standstill alongside a Jedi Master and a Padawan. The show spends 10 episodes establishing that Maul is someone you do not want to face, but it also establishes something more important than his power. It establishes that he is still recognizably human. Maul is angry, bitter, and driven by revenge against Sidious, the Emperor who discarded him. What he wants is simple: recognition, purpose, and an apprentice. How he pursues those things is not. He schemes, manipulates, and bargains his way through every obstacle, reacting to setbacks with rage and to victories with satisfaction, forming alliances out of desperation and breaking them out of self-interest. He sends Force visions into Devon Azara's dreams, reaching out to a young Padawan's darkest impulses the way his own master once reached into his. Then Vader arrives, and suddenly, Maul looks like the most human person in the room. He does not react when struck, or flinch when attacked from multiple sides. He offers no response when Jedi Master Iko Diodaki senses through the Force that this enemy is a Dark Lord of the Sith, and he does not even turn his head when Captain Brander Lawson and the droid 2 Boots open fire from behind. Across the entire 2-episode finale, he does not speak a single word, just keeps walking forward. Supervising director Brad Rao explained at the premiere that the guiding principle for the animation was that action always has to tell a story. Vader's blocks are the smallest possible adjustments, while his offensive swings are heavy and mechanical, aimed at ending the fight rather than extending it. He punches through a stone wall because it is in his way and does not care enough to go around it, and collapses pillars to close off escape routes, not to injure, but to narrow options. All of that choreography is communicating one thing: indifference. The Inquisitors fought with speed and aggression because they wanted to win, while Vader barely moved because the outcome was not in question. Speed suggests effort, steadiness suggests certainty. Maul screams at the Jedi to run, collapses ceilings to buy seconds, improvises escapes, and looks for any angle that might keep him alive. His eyes are wide with recognition and fear as he pieces together who this opponent must be. Vader responds to none of it. Maul's 25 years of history give his fear perfect clarity. He survived being cut in half by Obi-Wan Kenobi, built a criminal empire, seized Mandalore, and fought Darth Sidious himself. He is the most proven survivor in Star Wars, so when this character, the one who has escaped every trap and outlasted every enemy, starts panicking, his history does the talking. The horror of the finale is not power, but absence. The total lack of anything recognizable as a person inside the suit. Shadow Lord is set roughly 1 year after Revenge of the Sith. Vader has been in the armor for barely 12 months, and Anakin Skywalker is already this far gone. The finale resembles Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees more than any traditional Star Wars duel. But the comparison is more specific than slasher films in general. Slasher villains are frightening because they keep coming, whereas Vader is frightening because he does not register that anyone is there. He processes rather than hunts, arrives rather than pursues. The horror is not in his abilities, but in the fact that nothing standing in front of him seems to exist to him. The finale sustains that feeling for 30 unbroken minutes. The Rogue One hallway lasted about 90 seconds, a burst designed to electrify. Shadow Lord holds the encounter across the entire final episode with no cutaway, no comic relief, and no last-second reversal. Just the slow, steady narrowing of options until only Maul and Devin remain. The pressure never releases, because the show spent an entire season building these characters, watching them struggle and survive, and form reluctant bonds, which means the 30-minute collapse hits differently than any brief set piece ever could. In the Clone Wars, Maul faced Sidious on Mandalore and lost badly, but even in that loss, the scene had a relationship inside it. Sidious spoke to him and taunted him, while Maul begged and bargained in return. It was cruel and unequal, but it was still an exchange between two characters who recognize each other. Sidious saw Maul as a former tool, a failed experiment, something to be toyed with before being put away. That cruelty is personal. It comes from a place of superiority, but also of engagement, because Sidious cared enough to be cruel. Here, against Vader, none of those options exist. There is nobody to bargain with and nobody to engage, not even malice, because that requires recognizing the person standing in front of you. Maul is not losing a fight, he's being processed. Meanwhile, Maul starts piecing together who his opponent might be. He knows his former master follows the rule of two, the ancient law stating that there can only be two Sith at any given time, a master and an apprentice. From the Clone Wars Season 7, Maul already knew that Sidious had been grooming Anakin Skywalker as his replacement, the same Anakin whose path Maul himself altered by killing Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace, the Jedi who believed in the boy, freed him from slavery, and fought to have him trained. Without that death, Anakin's path might have been completely different. In a way, Maul created whatever is now trying to kill him. The head writer revealed after the finale that Maul's realization is not clean. Whatever is inside the armor, Maul cannot tell if it killed Anakin or used to be him. A taunt would mean there is still a person in there, and the silence suggests there is not. Every previous Vader story pulled the mask off a little further. The prequels gave him a childhood and a tragic fall. The Clone Wars gave him a brotherhood with Obi-Wan and a Padawan he genuinely cared about. The comics opened up his inner world in the days after the suit went on. Those memories changed the way the mask looked. It stopped being a symbol of menace and became a symbol of loss. With each new story, however, something happened that nobody was tracking. The more audiences understood Vader, the less they feared him. By the time Shadow Lord arrived, Vader had become the most well-understood villain in popular culture. Shadow Lord reversed that entire process in a single night. Many of the animators who built this version of Vader were the same people who animated his first appearance in Rebels over a decade earlier. In Rebels, when Ahsoka slashed Vader's mask open, the voice of Anakin Skywalker briefly bled through, a glimpse of someone still suffering underneath. Shadow Lord seals that crack shut. In Rebels, Vader was devastating but survivable. Kanan and Ezra faced him on Lothal and escaped with their lives. On Malachor, Ahsoka dueled him and reached the person underneath when his mask cracked open, telling him she would not leave him. For a brief moment, Anakin looked back at her. Shadow Lord removes both of those possibilities. Nobody runs successfully without someone else dying in their place, and nobody reaches the man inside the armor because the armor offers nothing back. The finale's most revealing moment comes when Maul force pushes Daki behind Vader, forcing the Jedi Master to re-engage instead of retreating. Maul gets the time he needs to reach Devin, Daki gets a death sentence, and the Padawan, who never sees the push, loses her master without ever knowing who really sealed his fate. Filoni, at the premiere, explained why Vader can never make a choice like that. He said Maul is still struggling to let go of hate, while Anakin got consumed by it. If Vader were to face what he did, Filoni said, it would destroy him more than any Jedi ever could. The fix is not a new Vader, but the one audiences first met in 1980. Every character who faced Vader in the finale was left with a sacrifice to make. and every sacrifice revealed who that person really was. Lawson gave his life so his son can escape. Devon accepts Maul as her teacher, screaming that she will kill them all, her voice deepening and hardening as the dark side takes hold. Vader walks back into the fog, having completed his task. He was already gone before the dust settled. One last detail connects the finale to something larger than Shadow Lord. The way Vader strikes down Daki mirrors the way Luke Skywalker will one day strike down Vader himself in Return of the Jedi. And the parallel was deliberate. Luke's decision to throw his lightsaber away only carries weight if Vader is genuinely terrifying. If the man behind the mask is visible, mercy is easy. If he's not, mercy becomes the bravest act in the saga. For 2 episodes, the galaxy remembered what it felt like to be afraid of Darth Vader again. Not because he was stronger, but because he was no longer someone the audience could reach. Quick note before you go, members get early access and a few videos that stay off the main channel. If that's interesting, the link is in the description. Otherwise, here's another video you might like.